From Kerala, Parshuram, after his rampage was over, was overcome with guilt. The blood on his hands could not be washed. In the Hindu epic tradition, there is a strange figure who does not quite fit the usual categories. He is a Brahman, born of a great Brahman sage. But he carries a weapon. He carries, specifically, a battle axe. He is named, in fact, after his weapon. He is called Parshuram, Rama with the Parshu, the axe. He is regarded by the tradition as the sixth avatar of Lord Vishnu. He is older than the more famous Rama of Ayodhya, Ramachandra, the seventh avatar, by some thousands of years. He was born to the sage Jamdagni and his wife Renuka. He was the youngest of 5 brothers. He was the only one who carried weapons. He was, in the way of all great epic figures, both terrifying and tragic. There is a famous incident in Parshuram's youth that explains everything about his character. His mother Renuka, one day, was sent to fetch water from a nearby river. She delayed. She returned home late. Her husband Jamdagni, a stern sage, questioned her sharply. She admitted that she had paused, for a moment, to watch a handsome king bathing in the river. Jamdagni, in fury, declared her impure. He commanded each of his 5 sons, one by one, to kill their own mother for this lapse. The 4 elder brothers refused. They could not raise a hand against their own mother. Jamdagni cursed all 4 of them. He turned to the youngest son, Parshuram, and gave the same command. Parshuram, the legend says, did not hesitate. He took his axe. He cut off his mother's head. Jamdagni, satisfied that his son had obeyed him, granted Parshuram a boon, any wish he would grant. Parshuram asked, with cold practicality, that his mother be restored to life and that his 4 brothers be restored to sanity. Jamdagni had to grant it. He had given his word. Renuka was restored to life. The brothers were restored. Parshuram, in this one act, had both proved his obedience and saved his entire family. He was, even as a boy, frighteningly capable. Years later, a Kshatriya king named Kartvirya Arjuna, a 1,000-armed king of great power, visited the hermitage of Jamdagni. He demanded a sacred cow that the sage owned, a cow named Kamadhenu that produced everything one wished for. Jamdagni refused. Kartvirya Arjuna seized the cow by force and took her away. Parshuram, returning home, found his father weeping. He gathered his axe. He went after the king. He fought him. He killed him. He recovered the cow. But the king's sons, in revenge, attacked the hermitage when Parshuram was away. They killed Jamdagni. They burned the hermitage. Parshuram, returning home a second time, found his father's body. He stood over it. He swore a public oath. He swore that he would now exterminate every Kshatriya king on earth, every member of the warrior caste, in every kingdom, 21 times over. The number 21, in some traditions, refers to 21 consecutive generations. He took up his axe. He began to walk across India. He killed every Kshatriya king he encountered. He did this for many years. The Mahabharata records that he was, eventually, persuaded to stop by the sages, who pleaded that the world needed its warriors. He stopped. But the oath had been mostly fulfilled. The earth, the legend says, was running with blood. Parshuram, after his rampage was over, was overcome with guilt. The blood on his hands could not be washed off. He went on a long pilgrimage. He bathed in every sacred river in India. He visited every shrine. He performed every penance the sages prescribed. None of it worked. He still felt the weight of the killings. He approached the great sage Kashyapa, by some accounts, his own granduncle. He asked Kashyapa, "How do I atone?" Kashyapa told him, "You have killed the kings of the earth. You must now give a piece of the earth back. You must give it as a gift. Find a piece of land that does not yet exist. Create it. Give it to the Brahmins, to the seekers, to those who do not wish to fight. Make it a peaceful land. That will be your atonement." Parshuram listened. He walked, with his axe, to the very southern tip of the Indian subcontinent. He stood at the edge of the western coast. He looked out at the Arabian Sea. Parshuram, standing on the western coast of India, by some accounts on the small hill called Gokarn, by other accounts at Cape Kanyakumari, raised his great axe with both hands. He addressed the Western Ocean directly. He said, "I have killed enough kings. I now ask the sea to give up some of its bed, so that I may have land to give as a gift to others." He hurled the axe with all his strength. The axe flew over the sea. It traveled an immense distance. It struck the water at some far point, the chronicles say, all the way out near the present-day Maldives. The sea, struck by the axe of an avatar, withdrew. It retreated west. It uncovered, in its retreat, a long thin strip of land along the western coast of the Indian peninsula, a strip about 600 kilometers long and about 100 kilometers wide. The land was wet. It was rich. It was thick with palm trees and elephant grass and slow rivers and dense forests and small green hills. The land had no people. It had been under the sea. It had now been given back. Parshuram, the chronicles say, named the land. He called it, in the Sanskrit tongue, Chelam, the land of the Cheras, the local clan. The name, in the centuries that followed, softened into Kelam. Today we call it Kerala. Parshuram, having created the land, then had to populate it. He invited, the Kerlolpathy Chronicle says, Brahman families from northern India, by some accounts from the banks of the Krishna river, by other accounts from the Tulu country of present-day coastal Karnataka, to settle in the new land. The Brahmins were reluctant. The land, they said, was wet. The land was full of snakes. The land was unfamiliar. Parshuram, the chronicles say, made them a series of concessions. He blessed the snakes, Lord Shiva's serpents, and made them protectors of the new Brahman households rather than threats. This is why, even today, in Kerala, almost every traditional Brahman Tharvadu, the ancestral house, has a small sacred grove called a Kavu, dedicated to Naga, the serpent, and managed by the eldest women of the family. He divided the land, in the Chronicles account, into 64 villages, 32 on the northern half and 32 on the southern half. He established the matrilineal inheritance custom, by which family property would pass through daughters, not sons, to ensure that the small Brahman community would not lose land if its menfolk died young in the unhealthy, malarial climate. This matrilineal Nambudiri and Nayar tradition was unique in India. It was, the chronicles say, the gift of Parshuram. Land settled. People settled. The new Brahman community took root. Parshuram, having created and populated his new land, then did one last thing. According to the Kerlolpathy, he travelled, at the end of his work, to a hilltop overlooking the sea, variously identified as a hill near Thrissivperur, today Thrissur, or near present-day Kollam. He climbed the hill. He sat down. He looked at the work he had done. He picked up his axe, the one he had thrown out to the sea years before and had since retrieved. He buried the axe in the ground beside him. He left it there. He withdrew from the world. He retired, the legend says, to a high cave in the Himalayas where he sits, even now, in deep meditation, waiting for the end of this age. The axe, the Kelolpathy insists, is still buried on the hilltop in Kerala. No one has ever found it. Several Kerala temples, including the famous Parshuram Kshetra at Thiruvallam near Thiruvananthapuram, the Parshuram Temple at Thiruvanchikulam, and the great Triprangod Shiva Temple, claim, in various traditions, to be at or near the site. Kerala calls itself, even today, in tourist brochures and in school textbooks, Parshuram Kshetra, the land of Parshuram. The Malayalam people, when they say they live in God's own country, are partly recycling a tourism slogan. They are also, partly, repeating an old chronicle that says the western coast of India was thrown up out of the sea, 600 kilometers of it, by a Brahman with an axe who needed to atone for what he had done. Tomorrow's story comes from another corner of India. Subscribe to walk with us through the folklore of every region, in your language.